Hi there, and thanks for joining our Tanzu annual update. We've got a lot to share with you today about building, operating, and optimizing your enterprise applications. Tanzu Platform is the premier private cloud platform as a service, used by hundreds of the largest organizations globally. This has been a year defined by the promise of generative AI and AI agents, and I think also by the anticipation of how organizations like yours can start getting real organizational-wide value from agentic AI projects. I don't know about you, but I've heard a lot of talk about enterprise AI, seen some cool proofs of concepts, but I'm not sure I've heard about many organizations that are applying AI to their existing application portfolios of hundreds, even thousands of applications. A lot of time and money is being spent on AI. How can you make sure that it pays off, that you get a great return on your AI investment? That's what we're going to talk about today, how you can lay the foundation for an AI strategy, put in place a platform that supports AI and agentic applications, and then how you can get your developer staff up to speed on AI quickly and start enhancing your apps with new AI features and building AI agents. You know, the premise of what we do at Tanzu is that great businesses run on great software. So when you can start adding in AI features to your apps, you can start improving your business and achieving return on investment. You're going to hear all about this today and see it in action. Let's get started right away with our General Manager, Purnima Padmanabhan.
Thanks, Coté, and hello, everyone. This is Purnima Padmanabhan, and I'm the General Manager of Tanzu Division here at Broadcom. And as Coté mentioned, we have a lot of exciting news on generative AI and agentic AI. But before all of that, I wanted to introduce you to who are we as Tanzu. We have been in the business of helping customers drive business velocity by accelerating software velocity. And that has been for decades, right from our origin as Pivotal. That has been our mission, helping customers accelerate business velocity by accelerating software delivery. At the heart of it, Tanzu helps customers accelerate application delivery by helping them develop, operate, and optimize applications at scale. When you're building an application from the beginning of an idea, you need an environment to try out those ideas. You need to rapidly code up, so you need a framework. All common patterns, Tanzu provides that. You need to be able to deploy it and iterate across in a safe environment. Tanzu provides that. You need to be able to have services like database services or external third-party services. Tanzu provides that. And then you need to be able to run it based on your specific characteristics, whether you want it at scale, whether you want it in HA configurations, whether you want it in region 1 or region 2. And Tanzu enables you to do that. So at the core of it, Tanzu truly gives you a pre-engineered platform that makes it very easy for you to write your apps and run them at scale. Now, when you think about the evolution of apps, every few years there has been some new innovation or the other. We started from monolithic apps to distributed 3-tier apps and now to microservices-based apps. Now, let us talk about the introduction of generative AI and agentic-based apps. Ultimately, having a generative AI solution that is sitting in a silo somewhere or a model that is being fine-tuned in a silo somewhere is not sufficient. What you have to do is you have to insert the power of agentic apps and generative AI apps into your existing enterprise applications and transform the end user experience, transform them with new ideas, transform them with new services. And most of these apps are running in a traditional microservices-based pattern. Most of these apps are written in Java. And that is where our new innovation from Tanzu Platform truly comes into play. We are innovating across the entire spectrum of develop, operate, optimize to make it easier for you to build agentic apps and generative AI apps. With our framework, we make it very easy for Java developers to add generative AI capabilities into their application, connect to models with Java APIs without having to worry about iterating and changing code every time they change out a model. Now, the reason why Tanzu Platform is a perfect platform for Gen AI apps is because it is truly an integration platform. It gives you everything that you need to build a generative AI app. It has a safe place to run your application business logic, a way to connect your services, be it data services or any third-party services. And now with the AI ML service, it also has a way to connect to your models. These models could be anywhere. They could be deployed on-prem using a VMware private infrastructure, or running on some other platform, or running on public cloud. But you can write your application and do late binding connections into these models. But that's not all. These models also need context. An example of an enterprise context might be a company, an insurance company that is defining policies, may need context about the types of policies it has, may need context about the historical usage of those policies. And being able to bring this context into the platform and into the application is very critical. That is where I'm excited to announce the support for Model Context Protocol by Anthropic. We now have built-in capability that enables our customers to write MCP servers and deploy them and use them on the platform. They can use these MCP servers then to connect to their enterprise subsystems as well as third-party systems. Not only that, but we have authored a Java SDK that enables enterprises write their MCP servers very easily. Anthropic has announced our Java SDK as the official Java SDK for MCP. So with this, you have the full ecosystem you need to be off to the races and truly start experimenting with the power of generative AI, with the power of agentic apps. You don't have to wait for a separate team, a separate AI ML team to figure out things for you. You can empower your enterprise developers today. Let them play with these various ideas. Keep it sandboxed so that it is safe, but make sure that the right things around connection to the various services, the ability to audit, the ability to make sure that you have got recordings and journaling of what you're doing so that you can test it, you can validate it. All of that is baked into the platform. So I'm excited for our customers to unleash the power of generative AI and agentic apps using Tanzu.
All right, well, I've been excited to talk with you too, Purnima and Adib, about what's going on in the AI world, because I certainly enjoy using it, probably daily, maybe a little more than I should. And I think that's what I'm interested in this context of what we at Tanzu do and our customers do, is it seems like there's a lot of great, fun innovation going on with, maybe it's not weekly, but models come out all the time. Yes. Very impressive charts, fun consumer apps. But I don't get the sense from talking with enterprise customers that these effects and benefits of AI have spread broadly throughout the enterprise. There's kind of little pockets of awesomeness, if you will. And you know, with the background that we have with what we do with Tanzu, like, what do you think is preventing, holding back? Why hasn't the positive benefits of AI spread all across the organization?
I think that's a great point that you make, right? There's so much conversation about what we call in the industry as picks and shovels. A lot about GPUs, GPU virtualization. And then you talk about consumer apps, like you said, right? The chat interfaces and the operators that are out there. But when it comes to enterprise apps, think about it. What are enterprise apps written in? A lot of them are written in Java. They are written in Spring. And they are sitting in a line of business somewhere. And often when customers start with their AI journey, they create a separate AI team. So now there's an AI ML team that is sitting separately somewhere. Maybe they understand a few use cases, they are fine-tuning models, they're identifying how to apply AI ML. But what has not happened is this is still a separate function from the app development. What has to happen in the enterprise is really you have to bring the power of generative AI to the developers, because these developers are the ones who are seeped with the understanding of what the business unit is doing. What kind of innovation do they need to bring? How do they need to transform, right? So all the ideas, the idea generation is very important. How do you want to take AI ML and apply it to your business to deliver better results for your customers, for your partners, new services, for your revenue generation? And that has to come from these developers. So what has to happen is the ability to experiment with AI, the ability to try out new ideas and quickly bring them to a reality has to be put into the hands of these lines of business and developers.
So for over a decade at Tanzu and Pivotal before that, we've done, well, I think, a really good job connecting developers together with new innovations and ways of doing things through cloud and microservices, all of these sort of things that have come up. And I think we know a lot about how you do that for new innovative things. How are you thinking through how we do that with AI? How do we bring this new way of thinking about building your applications, the features and functionality you have with AI, how do we bring that to the enterprise developer?
I think that's exactly what needs to happen. We have to bring the power of AI to the enterprise developers. As we talked earlier, AI sitting in a silo can never be very impactful in an organization. Now imagine if we told the developer that the ability to access the model is just yet another integration. It's something just like are used to deploying various services. They just deploy the model as a service. It's available on demand. It is brokered in. It is already governed. It already meets their spec. That can be very powerful. Now I'm writing an application and I decide I need a chat interface for my application. That is something that I can very easily do by connecting to a model that is served up by the platform. The next thing that they might say is, okay, great, that is good, but a model might just give me generic answers. I need to have the entire pipeline to bring in data that is relevant to me. These pieces of data might be sitting in different enterprise systems, right, that are not very easily accessible. I need to clean that data, and then I need to provide it to the model. Often you need a bunch of tools and systems to do that. Imagine I could say, hey, on the same platform now, you can easily author a set of tools, run those tools to connect to your third-party systems. And better still, if I told you that now you have a very standardized, industry standard way to connecting to this context from external services. And that is where we've announced support for MCP protocol, Model Context Protocol which was authored by Anthropic, but it's out in the open. We have an implementation in Java for that. That is officially supported now. And developers can simply write that context exchange, bring it to their model, and put it into their enterprise applications and make it available. So what it does is it speeds up the amount of time that it might have taken otherwise to do all these integrations by yourself. So when you think about an AI ML platform, you can't just think about models. You can't just think about protocols. You have to think about the entire ecosystem. An AI ML app or a generative AI app or an agentic app, whatever you might want to call, is ultimately still a microservices-based application. And so by equipping the platform with all these incremental capabilities, you can bring a paradigm to the customer that accelerates innovation.
You know, one word that you've used a lot is context. And yeah. I have to admit, when you and I were talking about this and you were first using it, I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
Yeah.
But you know, after we talked about it a bit more and what you were just saying, I like this idea of thinking about what AI does for you, of bringing access to the context of the rest of the organization. It's kind of the same way that you would connect to databases that you had or event services. And I think that does feel like something that's been missing from the conversation about enterprise use of AI, is bringing all of what the enterprise has, not just what it's read on the web, but bringing that context seems like the unique thing that the enterprises need.
I mean, that's what fuel charges an app, right? Otherwise, you can just go to ChatGPT and get whatever you want, right?
Exactly.
The generally available knowledge. But when you're applying, building generative AI into your applications, let us say for customer support use case or for better references and recommendation use cases, you want to make sure that the answers that are delivered are based on the enterprise context. You want to make sure that the enterprise context is inserted in the right way. It is safe. It is not the right RBAC, and controls are put on it and governance are put on it. And by having a system of tools that are certified by, let us say, an IT or a platform engineering team, you make sure that the developers have the freedom to pull all of that data, but within the governance model that we set.
So Adib, I feel like a lot of what we're talking about here is going to where the developers are, is meeting developers where they are. And for what Purnima was just saying, how do the developers want to be met, right? Like what's the interface to the developers? How do they want to operate?
Well, I think for a lot of the developers, they're excited about doing something meaningful with AI. And so they look at it as how do I take the code that I have today? How do I insert into that code the interaction with an AI model? And they look at it from two perspectives. One is this is important for their careers because everybody is like, hey, I want to be doing AI. And the second thing is they want to deliver business results, which means modifying the apps they have today and building new applications quickly. And the easiest way to build new apps quickly is with the technology that you've been using for a long time.
So I think as platform people, we could say the next topic is where we have some opinions. And
Yes.
a lot of what we've been talking about when it comes to businesses taking advantage of AI, going to the developers who are the ones who are accelerating the apps so that accelerates the business, there's a lot of application development, thinking about how the business works, writing the features. You haven't really mentioned a lot of like configuring servers or making sure that networking is secure,
Yes.
or bringing all these services up. And so what is the role of a platform when it comes to these AI services?
Oh, that's a great one. And to some extent, the reason I didn't mention it is because we take it for granted.
Right.
We have been doing this for so long that today when a customer needs and our developers and our customers want to build an application, they just think about business logic. The entire ecosystem of how you provision infrastructure, how do you connect the networks, how do you make sure it is secure, how do you make sure it is, stays compliant, how do you make sure that the app is running, how do you make sure when something goes down, it again is brought up back again, it is resilient. All that today, platform takes care of that. So now, when we extend it to the AI context, you want the platform, you want just to be able to ask the platform, give me all the certified models with all the certified configurations. As a developer, don't ask me to configure anything. Let the platform team configure it. They can decide what are the governance policies, what are the token rate limits that you're going to set, what are the models that are allowed to be accessed and not, right? What are the models you want to use for evaluation versus RAG apps versus chat apps? So it allows an expert team, now include an AI ML team, to curate the kinds of things they want the developers to have the access to, right? So an AI team doesn't have to become a development team, and a development team doesn't have to become an AI team.
Right.
We truly help bridge that gap between an AI expert team and a development team. The other thing a platform can do is it's more than models, as I said. It is all the tools that you need, the boring stuff that is needed before making generative AI or agentic AI real. You have to bring data and context in. So all the tools can be pre-curated. You can put governance and RBAC on that. So you know which systems can you talk to, what mechanisms will you use to talk to them, what kind of data will be brought in from them. And that is very powerful.
Well, Adib, Purnima brought up an interesting new role, I think, in the platform world. We've always had developers, platform engineers, but she mentioned like the AI group, the data scientists. And I have talked with you about the role those people have and your kind of thinking and discussing with people how they fit in, but give us a sense of how this AI team is integrating into the application world.
Yeah, I mean, great question. The key thing here is that AI is new. We don't really know for a particular situation that we're working in what's going to be the right approach. There's iteration that's involved. And so it's really important to allow that team of experts in AI to be able to scale themselves across all the dev teams. And that is really what we're helping them do with the platform. They're like, hey, we've tested a few chat models, we've tested a few image models, maybe some voice models, whatever it is. They can make that available to their dev teams through the platform, and then they can spend their time helping those dev teams get the result that they're looking for. So they don't need to be like writing the code in the app, but they need to be helping with, did it work? Which model is better for this particular use case? And bringing their deep knowledge of AI to the use case where the AI is being applied. And if they need to make a change, that change needs to be low effort. You can't just like say, oh, we just spent the last 8 weeks adding in all this code. Oops, we want to switch to a different model. Oh no, we have to rewrite a whole bunch of code.
So I think what we've kind of painted here is that a platform is this connector. It's kind of a central place where this new role of the AI group, the developers, the platform engineers, your security people, it all kind of comes together in that area, which is great for us. We love platforms.
Yes.
But so how can people get started with that? How do you get a platform in place?
Well, if you're a Tanzu customer, you already have the access to all these capabilities. You simply open up the box and start trying it. And if you need help, call us. We have got the experts and we have got the built-in configurations within the product. Now, if you're not a Tanzu customer and you want to bring the power of AI/ML, especially to your enterprise developers, especially to all the Java and Spring developers that you have in your organization, we have got a couple of solutions that can get you started very quickly. Call us and you can be up and running within a few hours.
All right, well, this is really fun talking with you and Adib about this. So hopefully over this next year, you, I, and Adib, and the rest of us at Tanzu will start hearing about some great examples. So thanks a lot, Purnima and Adib, for this. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, Coté.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thought that was a great conversation about what enterprise IT leaders need to consider when building their Gen AI and agentic strategy. Now, let's take a closer look at how enterprises can implement Tanzu to achieve faster ROI. I'm going to give it over to Adib, who's going to walk through what exactly the Tanzu platform does that really helps you add that kind of connection point for all of those different groups so that you can start getting ROI with AI.
We're living in the age of AI, and everybody has this question on their mind: how do I unlock AI ROI? And what a lot of organizations are doing is that they're coming up with a lot of ideas, hundreds of ideas, to say, hey, this is an idea that we can use in order to generate some sort of benefit for us. Now, these ideas are only going to work if we're able to develop them and put them into applications that we have. These could be employee-facing apps or customer-facing apps. Once we've built those ideas into our apps, we need to deploy the applications to production. And then we need to see how well are those ideas going to work, which means we need to observe them. Once we observe them, we are able to draw some lessons from that. And those lessons can lead to further refinements on the ideas, which leads to more development. Now, once we go through this loop many times, two things are going to happen. One is we might decide that we need to trash this idea because it's not doing what we think it's supposed to do. Or it might lead us to profit. So clearly, if we have a list with 100 ideas on it, our goal should be to do fast iteration through this loop. And we also need to do cheap iteration. By doing fast iteration and cheap iteration, we're able to go through as many ideas as possible on our list and either trash those ideas because they didn't work or profit from them. The question is how? What do we need to do to actually get to fast iteration and cheap iteration? There are a few things. Number one, we need to make sure that we use our existing skills. Our teams know our products. They know our business logic. They should be able to use the skills they have today so that we can execute as many ideas as we can. The second thing is, because everybody's concerned about AI, there tends to be a slightly larger governance overhead. We need to make sure that we automate this governance overhead. Otherwise, we find ourselves slowed down by waiting on approvals, which is not good. Lastly, we need to collect metrics. Now, those metrics are really important. There are three types of metrics we should be collecting. One is we need to collect customer experience metrics, and that is really important because that's how we know whether this AI application is actually moving the needle for the users that are using it. The second thing we need to make sure we do is we need to make sure we're delivering this AI capability at a cost that makes sense. And so we must calculate and know what is the cost of the features that we've released. And lastly, we need to know the performance so that we can figure out, are we doing the right things? Are we doing them economically? And are we doing them in a performant manner? This combination of existing skill set, automation of governance, and metrics is the critical thing to allow us to do fast iteration and cheap iteration, which is what allows us to burn through our list of ideas for AI's impact on our business, which in turn helps us unlock the ROI for our enterprise from AI. So let's explore what a development workflow looks like between three critical teams, which are the application teams, the platform teams, and the AI data science teams. We start out with an AI idea. In order to realize that AI idea, we're going to have to write an application. That application is going to require a runtime to deploy into. The application is going to require an AI model, and it's going to require a database. Now, where is this AI model going to come from? It's going to come from our AI and data science team that will have done some certification in order to say, hey, these are the approved AI models that we should use in our organization. These are the recommended databases for AI use cases. Now, our developers are going to take that, they're going to write some code, they're going to make some changes to the code, and then they're going to deploy it into a staging test environment. We're going to observe what the application is doing. And once we've done that, we might discover that maybe this model that we originally picked isn't actually meeting our requirements. So you circle back to your AI platform team and your data team, and they might certify a new model, which then needs to be deployed into the platform. And that's what then the application is able to use. Once you have used that new model, you can collect a whole bunch of stuff. You're like, hey, this is working, but maybe the cost is too high. Can we optimize the model, or maybe do a model distillation whereby we are now able to get a model that is performing equally as well but costs less? So once we have that model distilled, we'll publish that model to make it available to the app. The app is now going to start using this new model, and this kind of back and forth between the app teams who are writing code, the platform team that's serving up and making available to them the data infrastructure, the AI models, and the application runtime, and the AI teams who are kind of curating and selecting these things. This whole kind of dance between these three groups is what you can optimize with the Tanzu platform. That's really what we do. And by using the Tanzu platform, in order to coordinate the workflow, what you're able to do is you're able to get to continuous updates. And continuous updates is the secret to being able to do small incremental changes to your applications, see those in production, learn from them, and profit. Have you ever wanted to build an AI agent? You typed it into Google, and the classic example you see is, hey, here's how to build a customer support agent. So in this example, in this slide board, we're going to go through what it's like to do this on Tanzu platform. So we've got our customer. Our customer is going to talk to this AI agent. The AI agent itself, we're going to build it in Spring. And because we're a bunch of Java developers, we know our business logic and we know how to do it in Java. Now, our company happens to have a customer profile API that we've written over the years. We have an order management system, and we have an issue management system. Now, the problem we have to figure out is, okay, the customer shows up at the agent and says, I have an issue with my order. First, I need to know who the customer is. So I need to get access to the customer profile API. Then I need to know what order is this customer having a problem with. So we need to access the order management system. And thirdly, maybe some other customer has had this issue, and we can actually take the search our issue management system to see if there's a known solution to this problem. And so the problem that we have is, how do we bring the data that's locked up behind these different APIs to our AI agent? And this is where the Tanzu platform's AI services come in. So what we're going to say is that this AI agent, step one, is going to kind of go like this. It's going to call this AI service. And from there, this is going to manage connectivity for us to whatever AI model we happen to be using. So that takes care of AI model access. But in order to access our customer profile service, what we're going to do is we're going to leverage an industry standard called Model Context Protocol, or MCP. So we're going to build an MCP server. And this MCP server is going to be for the customer profile. And this MCP server we can build with Spring because it's really easy to do. And so what's going to happen is now we can basically kind of go through the AI service to our MCP server. We can also enable direct communication with it. But it's not just one MCP server we need to build. We also need to build the order management service. So we'll say the order MCP. And that's going to go down here. But then we have this issue management system. We didn't write the code for this. So maybe our vendor is going to have a COTS. The COTS vendor has built an MCP server. So what we're going to do is we're not going to write that one from scratch. We're going to deploy it. So we're just going to say the COTS issue MCP server. And that is going to take care of going here. And effectively, what we get from this is the following. This is just an application running on the platform. So this is just an app. And this application is able to use the Tanzu AI service to access all of the different data sources that it needs. And the access to these data sources is modular because we're going through industry standard MCP servers, which can think of them as connectors to these various things. You can either write the code yourself. So this is, custom code. So in this case, these two are custom code that you write with Spring AI. And then these things here are things that you purchase, and you're able to use that. Tanzu Platform makes it easy for us to develop, operate, and optimize AI agents. We do it first by making it possible for you to write the code for the AI agent in your favorite programming language, including Java and Spring AI. We then make it possible for you to build connectors using MCP servers that access your existing APIs, or take third-party MCP servers that others have built and then deploy them into the Tanzu platform. The coordination between the AI agent, the MCP servers, and the AI models is all held through the Tanzu AI service. That makes it possible for your developers to self-serve, iterate rapidly, and rapid iteration is the key to unlocking AI ROI.
Adib's always good at laying out the big picture of how things work, all the boxes and arrows. And what I always like to see next is what's going on inside those boxes, an actual demo of the technology, which is exactly what we're going to see next.
Hi everyone, Dan Baskett from Tanzu here. Are you ready to explore building intelligent apps on the Tanzu platform? We're talking LLMs and agentic AI, systems that don't just chat, they take action. But honestly, integrating agentic AI is pretty tough, but becoming more and more vital. So Tanzu's platform philosophy really hasn't changed. We simply treat AI like any other app for speed, security, and efficiency. There's a couple key enablers that make this pretty seamless on the Tanzu platform. We support standards like Anthropic's MCP, Model Context Protocol. In fact, we provide the official Java SDK for MCP. And then there's Spring AI, which empowers the vast pool of Java developers to easily build these powerful agentic capabilities right into their existing apps. All that wrapped up in an integrated platform approach helps Tanzu customers deploy real AI solutions real time. Let's see how that works. So for this demonstration, we're going to look at the Acme Fitness app, all running on the Tanzu platform. As you can see, it's a pretty standard e-commerce application, front end, catalog, identity services, payment, orders, carts, back-end services. But the technical goal of this project is to add an agentic AI assistant. meaning it securely executes back-end actions via MCP servers, going beyond simple LLM Q&A chatbots. Tanzu Platform provides the capabilities to manage this complexity effectively, and this will enable us to do a phase development. Knock out 3 phases. Phase 1, LLM integration. Here, Tanzu can simplify this easy and secure connectivity between app and foundational models, enabling the developers to rapidly iterate on the application. Phase 2, model iteration. Tanzu offers the flexibility to deploy and manage a diverse set of models. So when you go from development production, you can change the model easily with just binding a new model that's available. And Phase 3, adding agentic tools. Tanzu enables the controlled agent interaction via APIs and services, via robust networking, security, and service discovery. So let's focus specifically on Phase 1 and see how Tanzu Platform facilitates this initial LLM integration. So let's take a look at things from the platform engineer perspective. Here we are in the Tanzu Platform interface, where the platform engineer provides the necessary AI model access for the Acme Fitness developer. Remember, the goal here is rapid iteration, so we're going to initially deploy a model instance configured to run efficiently on ready available CPUs as opposed to GPUs, and this gets the developer unblocked in just a matter of minutes and doesn't require provisioning GPUs or even acquiring GPUs. First, the platform engineer selects the specific model required. Then they can enable necessary capabilities for the instance. For our scenario, they'll enable chat for the basic interaction and enable tools capability, anticipating the need for agentic actions using MCP in later phases. Next, they provide essential configuration details specifying location or the registry where to pull the model artifacts, along with any specific host configurations needed for the virtual machine that'll run the model. Now, even for a CPU-based model primarily used in development, applying usage controls is probably a pretty good idea. So within the service configuration here, the platform engineer can set some sensible upper limits on requests per minute or tokens per minute to govern the developer usage. Next, they can assign a descriptive service name to the provision model instance. This identifier is what the developer will use when they go to bind the model to their code. And to prepare for enhancing the chatbot with RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, later on, the platform engineer will also provision access to a second specialized embeddings model as part of the process, as well as a Postgres instance. This embeddings model is necessary for generating the vector representations of the Acme Fitness data. This allows the chatbot to provide contextually relevant, company-specific answers. So what's this look like from the developer's perspective? Well, the developer is building their AI assistant using Spring AI, which integrates seamlessly with their existing Java and Spring ecosystem. This allows them to focus purely on the application logic. They can implement the chat features, the agentic features, all because Spring AI abstracts away all the low-level integration with the AI models. And then deploying the Tanzu Platform is equally streamlined for them. They define the app settings in a manifest. They log into the system. Then it's a simple CF push command that triggers the platform to automatically build, deploy, and run the application. Connecting to backend services is next. The developer uses the platform's marketplace to find the provisioned LLM instance and the Postgres instance needed as the vector store for RAG. Then they can bind these services to their application with the CF bind command. Tanzu Platform handles the rest, securely injecting connection details and credentials directly into the app's environment, removing all those burdens from the developer. During Phase 3, the AI assistant evolves from an informational tool to an actionable tool by integrating MCP servers. These servers, running as bindable services on the Tanzu Platform, expose backend functionality like inventory checks or order placement as discrete tools. Acme's teams already developed MCP servers for key services like catalogs and ordering, potentially using Spring AI or other supported frameworks, although third-party services can also be integrated. By binding to these MCP services, natural language interface gains direct access to executing tasks like confirming stock levels, determining shipping logistics, or placing customer orders, thus fulfilling complex requests completely end-to-end. Now that we have the app running and it's bound to our backend MCP servers, we can test the functionality. As we enter data into the chatbot, you can see the MCP tools allow us to go far beyond the typical chat assistant and add specific functions that enable natural language interface to perform actions based on that interaction. Now with the application tested and running, we're ready to move to production. We know in production we're going to need the performance of a GPU-backed model, so we can select one running on VMware Private AI and then make that model available just as we did before with the CPU-backed models. Then the application can bind to this new instance, and we're ready for production workloads with no application changes. So to quickly wrap up, we saw how Tanzu Platform enables the iterative development of a truly agentic AI assistant for Acme Fitness, one that securely took action. Tanzu empowered platform engineers with rapid, flexible model provisioning, like CPU for dev, while Spring AI, CF push deployments, and automated service binding streamline the developer experience. This integrated approach tackles the key integration and operational hurdles that stall enterprise AI deployments. By treating AI like any other workload on a unified, secure platform, Tanzu enables faster iteration, easier management, and controlled access to the tools and data that agentic AI requires. In short, Tanzu Platform offers an efficient and secure path to production for impactful agentic AI applications that drive real business value.
Thanks for being with us today. You've seen how we're thinking about AI at Tanzu. The most important thing you need to know is that you can start doing it today, right now if you're lucky enough to already have Tanzu Platform running. The AI services in Tanzu Platform mean you can give secure, controlled access to public AI models like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini. And you can also give access to your privately hosted models, or host your own right in Tanzu Platform. You get the day 2 AI operations you need to deliver and support those services. Your developers can keep writing apps in Python if that's where they've started. You can run those apps in the Tanzu Platform, getting the platform engineering capabilities you need for enterprise-grade requirements. And if your developers use Java, like so many enterprise developers do, you've got a great, ever-evolving development framework at your disposal, Spring AI. A lot of your developers probably are already using it, and now you can give it the enterprise support needed to scale up and out to your organization all the fun, fantastic AI stuff they'll be thinking about. This year at Tanzu, we're focused on helping you achieve your agentic and Gen AI application goals. There's so much potential there, and it's one of the most exciting things I've seen in a long time. We're making adding AI to your applications as easy and quick as possible, and we can't wait to see what you'll come up with. Thanks.